Alright, we're back with a new video. This time we're doing team doubles for Junior Worlds. We have Daniel participating in this event this time around. He was able to pair up with a boy out of Wisconsin, which you'll hear the starting lineups or the teams that are going to be playing here in a few seconds once the TD's back on screen. And I have...
Hi, everybody.
Daniel joining me on the commentary once again. Hope you all enjoy, and we'll get going here after hole one.
To the 2025 PDGA Junior Worlds Doubles. We are with our last MJ10 Division group of the day with our 10 o'clock tee time. And Team Vijay is our first team to go off the box. Leading us off first from Columbia, South Carolina, Jai Singh. Next on the tee from Spring Valley, California. Say that again.
Reyes.
Reyes Mikuzis.
There you go, man.
Our next team to tee off is the Millennium Boys, and leading them off from Wichita, Kansas, Hudson Casper. Next up from Manhattan, Kansas, 7 O'Brien. And our third team on the box, Double Trouble, leading us off from Garden City, Kansas, Daniel Beatriz.
Let's go, Daniel.
Janesville.
Yeah.
And rounding off our 10 a.m. tee time from Janesville, Wisconsin, Nikola Quade.
Go, Nikola.
All right, and they're off. So hole one again, 308-foot par 3. I thought this was a really cool event, letting the kids play with, pairing up with people they know or people they don't know. This was a good way for Daniel and his teammate to get a practice round in, to get to know the course, because this was the course that they were going to be playing first round for singles golf. Daniel, what'd you think about this?
It was a very fun course, and my partner did really good. I have the forehand and he has the backhand.
Yeah, so Nikola out of Wisconsin, he was all backhand. Daniel, again, is all forehand, so it kind of complemented their game, because there was a lot of holes that were either or some that were more forehand or more backhand. So it really helped them with the course. So here you see Daniel tapping out for a par. So we're moving on to hole 2, par 3, 257-foot hole. Daniel, what are you throwing here? Do you remember?
Yeah, my cicada.
Okay.
This was a little bit of ante, so fight back.
Yeah, so Daniel put a bit of ante on it. For some reason, it didn't want to fight back like it had done during the singles tournament, which those videos will be coming out here soon. So it just held that turn on him, and it went to the left. Nikola, I can't remember. Do you remember what he was throwing, Daniel? Was it a Wraith or a Roadrunner?
I felt like it was the Wraith.
Yeah, I think he might have been throwing a Wraith. So he was swinging it out to the right, having it come back to the right, or back to the left, excuse me. So he had a really good throw. You'll see here on the next clip, he was just, 20, 30 short from the circle. So Daniel here's putting for birdie. Gives it a really solid bid, just hits the bottom of the basket on the cone. So we'll see if Nikola can give it a good bid also. How did you feel putting, Daniel, during the doubles tournament?
I felt confident, but just a little nervous.
Yeah, Daniel felt pretty good. His putting, I thought, was pretty decent. That was a good bid from outside the circle. Normally, maybe let's say six months ago, that's something that he probably would be pitching up with a flick forehand. So moving on to hole 3, 218-foot par 3. This one's just straight down the middle, OB left and OB long of the basket. Daniel, what are you throwing here?
My cicada again.
Is that a disc that you relied on quite a bit for the tournament, Daniel?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had just actually gotten this a week before Worlds. We went out and played a fun doubles during the 4th of July weekend here in our hometown of Garden City. And one of our club members brought some discs that he was selling, and that is one of the discs that I picked up from him. And after that doubles tournament, Daniel felt pretty confident with it. Didn't you almost ace a hole back home, Daniel?
Yeah, I almost aced hole 7.
Yeah, he was saying that since I didn't get paired up with him, he was paired up, I think, with my brother, or I can't remember who, but I guess he got pretty close at acing hole 7 back home in Garden City. So both Daniel and Nikola there, both landed over to the left. I think they ended up going with Nikola's drive off the throw. Daniel gave it a solid bid there, just a little hyzer, and it came out left of the basket. So we'll see if Nikola gives us a good bid and either makes it or gets pretty close to it. Yeah, not a solid bid, just hit the bottom of the basket. A little higher, might have hit chain, so it was a good throw. So Daniel, once again, here's tapping out for par on hole 3. Moving on to hole 4, 285-foot par 3. This one has OB left and then OB in the pond on your right. And this one sets up for both a backhand and a forehand. What did you decide to do here, Daniel?
I threw my nuke.
What were you trying to do?
I was swinging it. I was aiming to one of the flags over there, but I was mostly trying to swing it out, but I got it too high and I clipped the branch.
Yeah, Daniel was trying to go wide left. It's something that the day before when the kids met Friday evening and they played about a half a practice round, that was one of the things that Daniel worked on. He actually got a really good throw during his practice round. He got about 3/4 of the way up there. He was maybe 30 outside of the circle putting for birdie. Nikola goes here wide right with a hyzer. Really good throw. Gets all the way up there. I think he was probably, 100 from the basket. What are you doing here, Daniel?
Flicking it up there with my Omega.
Yeah, Daniel was just doing a little flick just to get under the basket. That way he could give his partner a chance to run it here to see if he can throw it in for birdie.
Eagle.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. This would have been for eagle. So the TD got the pars wrong for the doubles tournament. So this was actually marked as a par 4, which actually should have been a par 3. So this is why the kids ended up with a birdie here on this one. But nonetheless, it's still a birdie. Moving on to hole 5, 260-foot par 3. This one sets up more for a forehand, right, Daniel?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to. So I put a little bit of ante on this, and there's, what do you call it?
The trees?
The trees. And if you grip lock it with your backhand, you're in there.
Yeah, so this one, there's a row of trees on the right of the basket right there. So Nikola goes backhand. I think he did a road runner. He was trying to get the turn to go to the right and come back left, but he ended up dumping out. So this one, again, was a little bit better for Daniel's skill set with the forehand. So like he said, he was throwing a Z-Light nuke. He was trying to put some flex on this to get around that last tree. And he throws a really solid throw. I think it might have clipped one of those branches there, but nonetheless, he got all the way up there. I think you were what? Yeah, just barely outside the circle, weren't you, Daniel?
Yeah.
So Nikola right here is putting for birdie. So we'll see if he's able to give this one a bid and either knock it down or just get right under. Solid bid there, just high, hits the top band. So Daniel right here is going to give this one a bid, right? You were trying to run this one, Daniel?
Yeah, because we're only like 20 feet.
Yeah, he was about 33 or so. He was just outside the circle. So he gives it a solid bid, good run. It just hyzered out right in front of the chain. So really solid bid. So moving on to hole 6, 312-foot par 3. So this one's a water carry. I believe one of the dads ranged it to the tree or maybe to that tee pad. I think it was about 150, 160. So the kids had, I thought this was a cool hole to have some hazard right off the tee. So Nikola here, he's playing, I want to say it's that Wraith again, that Halo Wraith. He's playing to go over the pond and to the left. So we'll see if he's able to do it. So putting some flex on it, but because of the stability of the disc, it dumps out to the left. What are you throwing, Daniel?
I'm throwing my Z-Light nuke, I believe, yeah. But I think Nikola has 2 Wraiths. There's a yellow one, and then there's this greenish yellowish.
I think so. I can't remember if he had 2 or not. Daniel got a solid throw off the box. It just came out more flat with hyzer. Fortunately for him, it did push through the tree, right, Daniel?
Yeah. So I'm throwing my Omega here, but I just grip lock it.
I don't think you grip locked it. I think it more just because it's a soft putter and it's been beat in. You threw it flat. It just turned on you just because it's been beat in at this point. So you turned it over into the bushes, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Nikola now here, I want to say this disc he's throwing is his DX Rock, right?
Yeah. He threw it a couple times here.
Yeah, he threw it a couple of times here during the round. He had a really good throw. I thought he was going to throw it in from there. It just went low and to the left of the basket. So the kids left themselves, I want to say that was about a 10-footer, maybe 15-footer for par, on a lifted basket nonetheless. So again, this is why I thought this was such a cool hole for them, because one, they have the water carry, and if you don't make the water carry, you go in the pond, there's a drop zone right outside the circle. 2, if you do make it over in your approach, if you leave it long, you have a very good possibility of turning this into a bogey unless you're very close, because putting on a lifted basket's not the easiest. So Daniel here is going to give this one a bid to say par. And yep, got it right pretty close to the middle, just a little low, but it caught and it stayed in and then save for par. So moving on to hole 7, 230-foot par 3. This one sets up more for backhand, right, Daniel?
Yeah. On the last hole, it was very tricky because on some of the people that played in front of me, they missed some of their putts because it's lifted.
Oh, on the hole before, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, so there was a couple, I think one of the teams ended up with a bogey on that last hole, but I think he's more talking about on the singles round. There were a couple of people on his card that took a bogey because they were about 20 past the basket. So it's kind of a harder putt throwing up on a lifted basket, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
So on this one, Daniel, do you remember what you threw off the tee?
My Gorgon, and then Nikola threw his purple Roadrunner.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. We thought Nikola was short left and in OB, but fortunately for the team, they were just inbounds, so they had about a 40-45 footer for birdie here, so we'll see if both of them can give him solid bids. But Daniel off the tee, went with the Start Gorgon. It's a pretty flippy disc. He actually got that disc last year, right, Daniel?
Yeah, last year's.
At Junior Worlds?
Yeah, last year's at Junior Worlds, we got a backpack, and we had a lot of disc in it. And the Gorgon, when I first got it, I kept flipping it over.
Yeah, so Daniel with that Gorgon when we first tried it out was pretty flippy for him, but I think he's figured out how to throw it now. If he can throw it hard, flat, or with hyzer, it flips up and goes straight if he throws it with hyzer. If he's throwing it flat, it'll turn, it'll hold straight, but then start turning slowly at the end, but it will fight back and fade back. So moving on to hole 8, 258-foot par 3. This one was more of a flick forehand or a turnover backhand, but I think it played better for Daniel because of the basket being on the right-hand side. Do you remember what you were throwing, Daniel?
My Z-Light nuke, but my throw just got a little too low.
Yeah. Yeah, so his throw was good, great disc selection in my opinion. It just came out low, so as soon as it started to get up on that slight hill, it just went right into it. So Nikola here, I think, is throwing his Wraith again, I want to say. I think he's trying to put some turn. Again, I can't remember exactly. I just know he threw a couple of Roadrunners, that DX Rock. He putts with glitches, and I know he had a Wraith that he threw. So
Yeah, I believe he did throw the Reyes.
yeah, so Daniel believes he threw the Wraith on this one. So right here, they ended up going with Daniel's, I believe. So it gave him about a 60-footer. Daniel gives his a solid bid, right, Daniel?
Yeah, and Nikola's glitches, they have like a Mario stamp on them.
Yeah, so Nikola, the one he's putting with right now, has a Luigi and Mario stamp. It was really cool. Daniel really liked those. I think both of them were custom stamp. I think either one had Mario and Luigi, and the one in his hand right now, I think, has either Luigi and Yoshi. I can't remember exactly.
Wait,
but
no, the one that he put it right now, I had Mario and Sonic on it.
Mario and Sonic. Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember. So the kids get out of there with a par again. So far through 8 holes, they're -1. Moving on to hole 9, 246-foot par 3. This was a pretty cool hole. You're throwing into a group of trees. The pink thing on the map is the bridge, which is relief area. So if you were there, you got relief from that and went backwards from the basket. So Daniel, here on hole 9, what are you throwing?
My Thrasher.
Yeah, so that Thrasher is one of the discs that he purchased, I want to say, with some of his payout at one of the tournaments he played in Texas, and it's pretty flippy, right, bud? If you throw it with Annie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one disc that we've been working with. If he gets it flat, it will turn, but it will fade back at the end. But if he ends up putting too much Annie on it, it almost wants to turn into a roller.
Yeah.
Great throw.
When on the practice round, I parked it perfectly with the Thrasher.
Yeah, so during our practice round, we went back out on Sunday and practiced the course before round 1 on Tuesday. And he was able to throw multiple shots, multiple approaches, and he found that Thrasher, if he throws it correctly, if he throws it flat or just a little bit of Annie, will give him the turn he's looking for, but it will fight back to the right to give him that fade he needs to get out of any trouble, if there's any trouble over on the left. So Daniel gave his birdie putt a decent bid. It just went to the back and right of the basket. So Nikola right here is trying to give his a bid too to try to get it in there. So we'll see if he's able to make this or if they're just going to tap in for par. So his just went just a bit to the right or just behind the tree that we see there. So they ended up going with Daniel's approach here.
Yeah, and Nikola was putting with not his regular two glitches, but he was putting with some different one.
Yeah, he putted with something different for that one. So moving on to hole 10, 267-foot par 3. This one had OB all on the left and to the right and behind the basket. So the pond obviously was OB, and then the fence on the right and behind the basket would be OB also. So this one to me fits more of a backhand because you want to play it safe and go out here to the right side where Nikola's going. You just want something to fight farther left. In my opinion, you can go a forehand. You just have to have more of a power forehand because you're going to bring the water into play. So you want to throw more of a spiking forehand up to the basket here. So Daniel, what are you throwing here?
My Cicada with a little bit of Annie, but I got it too high.
Yeah, so Daniel got it too high. Not a bad throw. It just came out high. I think it ended up clipping the tree. I think it went OB, didn't it?
It went OB, but luckily, it didn't go in the pond.
Yeah, luckily for us, it didn't go in the pond because that is one disc that we don't have a backup, right?
Yeah. And then I thought my Omega, but I overpowered it and go back OB.
Yeah, so Daniel overpowered his Omega there on his approach. I don't know if he was trying to run it or it just got, off of him wrong or just got stuck to his hands. But nonetheless, Nikola was able to throw a great approach and he got them within about 3 or 4 feet from the basket. So for them, that was great because it still saved their par. So still through 10 holes, they're still -1. And that takes us to hole 11, which is a 356-foot par 4. This was a cool hole again. You have OB on your right with the fence, and you have some OB on the pond areas on the left, and then OB behind the basket. So this one, if you have the power, you could technically go for the basket if you have the power to get all the way up there and tap it in for an eagle, or you lay up to about the opening before the second pond on the right. Daniel, there, I think you threw your cicada?
Yeah, I believe, yeah, I threw my cicada. I threw it with a little bit of Annie, but it didn't want to fight back. So, so there's OB on the right still, but they marked it, and I'm pretty close.
Yeah, I think Daniel ended up being safe. There's an opening between the big pond and the little pond area to the right, just behind the baskets. He was safe, but because it was obstructed, they decided to go with Nikola's throw, which in my opinion was the best idea, because at this point you have a straight shot to the basket. Daniel, what are you throwing here?
My Mako 3.
Yeah, so this Mako 3, the one he got in Red River, is one of his discs that he throws very well. If he gets it flat, it will hold straight with a little bit of turn right at the end and fade back just a bit. He had a really good throw there, just went right over the basket and landed about 5 feet from it. Nikola, I believe, is going to go ahead and throw maybe one of his Roadrunners. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. Oh, yeah, he's throwing his Red Roadrunner.
Yeah, so he's throwing his Red Roadrunner. I forgot to ask exactly from his dad what all he threw. I just knew he threw several Roadrunners, his glitches, and his rock, and then outside of that, I don't remember what else they threw. But here they're tapping in from about 5 to 7 feet for their birdie, so we'll see if Nicola's able to do that, which he does. So through 11, they're -2, so not bad for them. Working together, first time playing together, so not bad at all. So moving on to hole 12, 238-foot par 3.
This is both. You can swing it out to the right, and for a backhand, you can swing it out to the left.
Yeah, so I think you got it backwards. I think forehand, Daniel, meant go to the left, and then backhand go to the right. Or maybe you said it correctly. I can't remember. But either way, there's OB on the left-hand side with that road. Then there's OB on the right-hand side with the fence. Daniel thought he got a bad throw there, but what did you throw?
My nuke. Do you like nuke?
Yeah, so Daniel thought he pinched it too close to that tree where he was going to be either short or too long, right? Or inside the tree, like he said. So we'll find out how close he was to the basket. But Nikola here is going to play the backhand route in between the tree in the middle and the tree on the right. Unfortunately, he just got it early released and it skipped up right behind the tree in the middle. But as you see here, Daniel was about 7 to 10 feet from the basket on his initial throw. So a great throw. Even though you were thinking it was short, it was still a good throw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're able to tap that one in for a birdie. So through 12 holes, they're -3. So very good for the both of them again. Moving on to hole 13, 379-foot par 4. This is another one of those that was marked incorrectly on the scorecard. This, instead of it being a par 4, was a par 3, right, Daniel?
Yes.
Yeah, so this was a par 3. So this played for them as the 3. So this, again, you swing out right like Nikola's doing for backhand over and then go around the tree on the right back to the left. Unfortunately, he
grip locked it and he went OB. I should have thrown my Gorgon, but instead of throwing my Gorgon, I threw my Thrasher.
Yeah, so Daniel decided to go with the Thrasher. I honestly thought it was a good play because if he could have thrown it flat, which he got a little bit of ante on it, so it held the ante turn. Can't remember what the wind was doing. Daniel thought he went OB. Fortunately for us, when we walked up to it, this is where he landed. So he was safe. So what are you throwing here, Daniel?
My Mako 3 again, but it didn't want to fight back, so I'm like maybe 30 feet long.
Yeah, so it didn't want to fight back, and again, that's just because that's the type of disc, right? A Mako 3 is a pretty straight disc, so it's not going to want to give you that huge bite at the end to the right on the forehand, backhand, back to the left. So it went very straight for him. I don't think he was 30 long. I think he was inside the circle. Nikola went with his DX Rock, and he was outside the circle, so they ended up going with Daniel's second throw. So here at this point, this is putting for par. It's not putting for birdie because, again, on the scorecard, it was marked as a par 3. So this was about a 15 to 20 footer. These are putts that you typically practice at home, right, Daniel?
Yeah, but I just got mine too high.
Yeah, so Daniel got it just a bit high where he hit the top of the band. Otherwise, if he gets that lower, that's in, catches, and they walk away with a par. So we'll see if Nikola here is able to save the par for the team and keep their score at a -3 for them through 13 holes. And just a little bit to the right. I don't remember if that one hit the basket or not, but unfortunately, on this hole 13, they ended up taking a bogey, so that gets them back to -2. So we're moving on to hole 14, which hole 14 plays more as a flick forehand because it's it's 257 foot par 3, but you'll see in the video here why I say it's more of a flick forehand. Unless you have that trusting turnover, you want to really go with the forehand. Hey, Daniel, do you remember what you threw here?
My Z-Light Nuke.
Yeah, so Daniel's throwing a Z-Light Nuke. It pushed good for him. It went straight and then hooked up to the right. I think he ended up being in the trees. Do you remember if you were in the trees?
Yes, I was in the trees, but Nikola's Roadrunner, he was in the open, so we went with his.
Yeah, so I think Nikola threw a good turnover, landed in the opening or in the open where you have a easy look at a par, where you can either run it if you trust it, or you can just pitch up and play for your par again. So you'll see here he has the opening. Daniel, I think, was just under the trees to the left, so it would have made for a bit of a harder birdie putt. They might have brought the tree into play and maybe turned a par into a bogey, so that's why they decided to go with Nikola's here. So Nikola right here again is going with his glitch to get it up there. He gets his a little bit grip lock, turns it over to the right, but luckily for us as the team, he was able to clip that branch, and I think it dropped him within 5 feet. So Daniel here is doing something not very characteristic of him from this distance. You typically just putt it normal, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Daniel was just trying to do a jump putt. Again, this was just for fun, this doubles tournament. So he was able to practice a few things he typically doesn't do. So that once we saw that, that's something we didn't do a whole lot during the singles tournament, right, Daniel? Yeah. So right there, Daniel and Nikola were able to save the par. Moving on to hole 15, 260 foot par 3. This one can play both ways. You can do the flick to the left or the backhand to the right, like Nikola's doing. I think he was throwing once again one of his road runners.
It was his purple one.
Yeah, his purple one. So it turned over on him, and that's typically what a road runner does. So they went OB. So now Daniel's going to do the forehand route on the left-hand side, which is not a bad option. It just got low on him. Do you remember what you threw? Was it the Thrasher or the Nuke OS?
Coming out.
I think it was the Thrasher, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so he was throwing his Thrasher. Looking back on it, I think if he could have thrown his Nuke or Nuke OS and gave it some height, I think he would have been able to hit the opening between this pine tree and the pine tree on their left, and he would have been at the basket within maybe 5 or 7 feet, because there was an opening between the trees, right, Daniel, to run a putt if you landed in the opening?
Yeah.
So here, unfortunately, because they're stuck in there, Daniel tried to go with the roller. Nikola's going to do the same. There really wasn't too many options out of here. I don't know. I tried to go in there with Daniel. There really wasn't a way to backhand it or forehand it out of there, so this is why both of them decided to go with the roller. And in my opinion, it was the best option. It's just there was too many sticks and twigs and whatever you want underneath this tree, so even if they threw a solid forehand, it was going to clip one of those and jump up the disc, or even drop it farther to the left or under something else. So Daniel's only went about 5 feet in front of him to the right, so Nikola right here is trying to get him closer to the basket to hopefully save their par. Unfortunately for him, his cut rolled as soon as he let it go and it hit the ground, but fortunately for them, it did go out farther to the right where Daniel's was farther to the left. So this is their par putt here. So Daniel went to a knee here just to give it a bid. There was a branch in front of him, so you didn't feel comfortable putting standing upright?
Yeah, I didn't feel comfortable, so I just went with a flick, but I went over the basket and
The branch. That's all you could do.
like maybe 20 feet, 10 feet long.
Yeah, maybe 5 to 10 feet. I don't think he went too long. And Daniel doesn't flick putt, so that was just something unnatural for him. Typically from this distance, he's putting normal, so for him to throw something he's not used to just kind of made a little bit different for him. So Nikola right here putting for par, so we'll see if we're able to, as a team, squeak out of here with the par with no more harm. Gave his a solid bid, just came out hyzer, short of the basket. I think that would have given more height, he would have made it, huh?
Yeah, I used to putt with a flick, but I just changed to a regular one.
Yep. So moving on to hole 16, 228 foot par 3. This was a cool hole, just a straight shot to the basket. This one, you could play either one, a flex forehand or a backhand, but it was just more of a straight shot. Daniel, what are you throwing here?
My cicada.
Yeah, so Daniel's throwing again a cicada. You'll find out through the rest of the videos that come out in the coming weeks that this was one of his favorite discs of the tournament. And man, you got so close, huh, Daniel, to acing
Yeah.
that hole. So during our practice round on Friday or Sunday, I think, he almost aced it here. Everybody was starting to cheer because everybody thought it was going in. I think during our practice round on Sunday, he threw the exact same shot and it almost went in. And I want to say round one of the rounds during the singles, you also gave it a decent shot, had to go.
Yeah, but the second round, I just flipped it over, it hit the trees, and this went like super long.
Yeah, I think third round. So Nikola right there was throwing his Roadrunner, and the Roadrunner did what the Roadrunner does. It just turned over on him, went to the right. Fortunately for them, Daniel was parked right there. They get the birdie, got one back, so that takes them to -2. Moving on to hole 17, 293-foot par 3. This one, in my opinion, was better for a backhand because you could go out to the right and then, have something push back left. You could go ahead and do a forehand straight to it with a little bit of ante, but in my opinion, it played better for a backhand down the right side. So Nikola, I think, was throwing a Roadrunner once again. Do you remember if that was a Roadrunner, Daniel?
Yes, it was his purple one. And
Yeah.
then I'm throwing my Thrasher here.
Yeah, so Daniel's throwing his Thrasher here. He's trying to play the turnover with the forehand. I thought he had a really good throw. It started to turn over to the left, but I think because of the stability of the disc, because it's still a pretty new disc, how Daniel, it just came back to the right. So it left him about a little over 100 feet from the basket. So Daniel, what are you approaching with here?
My tank.
Yeah, so Daniel's approaching with this tank there. Unfortunately for him, he just got a little nose up, a little hard, and it faded out just right over the basket to the right. So that, I think, where he got his disc was at the circle. Nikola right here is approaching again with his glitch, so we'll see if he's able to help the team and get us under the basket, which he had a really good throw there. Rolls up and just slides right under the basket. So really good throw by Nikola there. So Team Double Trouble was able to squeak out with a par here, so not bad at all. So Daniel's disc is over on the right-hand side where 7's over pointing at it because they were trying to figure out whose disc that was. So moving on to the final hole, hole 18, 277-foot par 3. This was another cool hole, kind of a little bit of a gap shot down the middle and then right into the opening. So we'll have Nikola go and tee off here first. I think he's throwing his Roadrunner again, right, bud?
Yeah, he was throwing his Roadrunner.
Yeah, so Nikola, I think, is playing the backhand turnover. Unfortunately, the disc just gets up on him a little bit, so it clips the tree just in the middle, and it drops, I think, to the right in the opening still. And Daniel, what are you throwing?
I'm throwing my Cicada again. But when I threw it, I didn't put enough ante on it, and so it was gonna be good if it holds that flex. I would be right here where my Cicada is right now, but
probably push farther right. Yeah, I think Daniel, if that tree's not there, because he threw it really good, it was starting to flex right at that tree. He might have been edge of the circle or just outside the circle. It would have been a good throw if that wasn't there again. But other than that, I mean, luckily for them, his disc kicked out to the left in the opening. So Nikola, I think, was throwing his rock. He had a good solid throw. It just went right over the basket. I think it went 15, 20 long. Daniel, do you remember what that disc was there that you're throwing?
It was my Rhino.
Yeah, so Daniel's throwing his Champion Rhino. He throws it nose up with a little bit of flex, leaves it a little bit short in my opinion, but about 10 or 15 feet, but that's a putt that you always practice, right, Daniel?
Yeah, and I sometimes miss it or sometimes make it.
Yep, so not a bad job there. They finished -2 for the tournament, tied for 6th. It was a really fun tournament for Daniel, and he really enjoyed it, so thank you all for watching.
Thank you, everybody.